Hi, welcome to Inspiring People. My name is Mary Otto, and I'm the host of this show. This show is the second in a two-part series that we're doing on the Beck Dairy Farm near Monaga. And my guests for this portion of the show are Tony and Linda Beck. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's been quite a pleasure to be out here at this lovely farm, and we just want to talk a little bit about what makes you inspiring. And so to do that, well, let's begin with just having you state your full name. So Tony, if you'd state your full name.
I go by Tony, but my given name is Anthony.
Anthony?
Yep.
Okay, and?
Mine is Linda.
Linda Beck, okay. And why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourselves and about your family? So why don't you go ahead, Tony, and you start.
Well, I'm a fourth-generation farmer out in Spruce Grove Township. I was born in Toad Lake originally, but been farming here for about 30 years with my parents, and I guess I don't know what else to add.
Okay, okay. And Linda?
Well, I've been in nursing assistant for 17 years. I used to work at Emmanuel, and then I decided to quit and help my husband on the farm for a while. Well, then I decided to go back into nursing again, and now I work at Lincoln Park, which I really enjoy. I have a great boss, and it's a great place to work.
And so do you also have responsibility, so to speak, on the farm?
Not no more. After he sold the milk cows, no, I don't have much.
Okay.
I don't really do too much on the farm anymore. My job keeps me quite busy, and with everything else I have to do.
Sure. Why don't you tell me something about your children? I understand you have a family, so.
Yes, my daughter, who was a real asset to our farm for many years, she became a nurse herself and moved to Minneapolis. They have a grandson now, we have.
Well, congratulations.
That was really wonderful.
Yes, that's what I understand.
My son, he's still living at home, but he's working out.
Okay.
Trying to, well, you have to find out what you want in life.
Right.
And he still enjoys some parts of the farm yet.
Okay.
And I guess every farmer, father's hope is probably the son will come back and take over the farm.
So as a young man, what sort of chores did you find yourself doing on the farm?
Well, I was fortunate to be on this farm when my grandpa still ran it, so we still had a lot of the old ways of doing things. I was involved in some threshing. A lot of things were done with a pitchfork and a shovel. And then my dad, when we took over the farm, we moved into more modern equipment, and we just kept being progressive, and we picked rocks. There's rock piles on our farm you wouldn't believe. And
stories about rock picking, I've heard of, yes.
And then we moved into a better milking facility back in the early 90s, and made milking more comfortable for the laborers. But it's still, farming is quite a challenge, but it seems like my life and my span of life came from the old ways of farming right up to more of the modern ways. Yeah.
Tony and I were sharing prior to the show some stories about, when I went to help, so to speak, my grandfather with threshing. I know what what that experience is like. Well, one of the reasons that your farm and the three of you came to my attention is because of an award that you recently won. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, last year in 2005, our family received the Conservation of the Year Award for Becker County. And it's usually given to people who are recognized for putting forth certain practices good for conservation. And I know on my part, the farm's part, we were involved a lot with the Natural Resource Soil Water Conservation District. And we put in place a lot of practices with our beef herd, grazing, new paddock grazing system, which is very beneficial for beef raising, water systems. We've installed tree wind breaks, and being part of, we have, all of our farms are in 2 watershed districts.
Oh.
There's conservation practices that the Agriculture Department likes you to put forth to protect the water and things like that.
Has this award or the work that you've been doing on this, Linda, has that affected your role in what you're doing on the farm at all?
No.
Okay, okay. Are some of the practices you had to change any things that you've been doing, you know, in the house or
with organic?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, not really. I've always been a naturalist. I always liked things that, you know, try to eat things that didn't have a ton of spray on it. I've always kind of been that way. I like my I love my garden, and I do canning and stuff out of it. And I've never really ever used sprays because I've always more or less been against it, because I've read so many articles years ago on how it affects even unborn children.
Sure.
And to me, that is important.
So you are in your vegetable garden or whatever, you are an organic farmer there as well.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. And can you give an example, Tony? You gave some with the watershed and the trees and things like that. How about with your crops? What do you do with the crops that make it organic?
Well, to lengthen the story out a little bit here, I was part of a farm business management class for many years. I graduated 2 years ago from that, and we bring in a lot of professional people through these classes and stuff, and a lot of other farmers come into our house during the wintertime, and we have a spring, summer, winter semesters here in the house here, and we became very, very interested in alternative agriculture practices, because one thing that's stuck in so many of our minds is that it seems like 90%, 99% of the farmers that have left this country, farmers for town, they failed under conventional farming practices.
Okay.
So we thought we had to find an alternative way of farming. And we first were approached, we brought in people that were part of the sustainable agriculture community. And this, of course, led to the organics, which was a great addition just because you have this niche market that brings a lot more money back to your farm. And so as far as our practices, you know, we're under a sustainable organic structure. We just use natural fertilizers, no spraying of any kind. And it seems like when you go into this, it seems like grazing has to be a part of that plan, proper rotations, because, you know, most people consider most anything other than the crop growing out there a weed, but it's really not. All this stuff that we call weeds is wonderful, wonderful vegetation for cattle.
Oh, okay.
And it has, we've had classes with scientists and people that have tested all these herbs and these other plant life that people spray and kill, and found that they have tremendous value to livestock. So it really is a well run farm when you bring it all together.
Well, that's great. And if people maybe off the air, you can tell me give me some names or addresses of places that people could contact either you or somebody else for more information about the sustainable farming.
Agriculture community. I know if you contact the Minnesota Agriculture Department, they have you can get information on the sustainable ag community.
Well, we are out of time. This is Mary Otto for Inspiring People. I'd like to thank the Becks for having me interview them.